Welcome back to Access Anime. My name is Henshin Ikeda, and I'll be doing a walkthrough and review of Ixion Saga Dimension Transfer Episode 14. Now, if you remember from last episode, we find out Icarlet and Cone are still alive. Ironically, right? Now, moving on to a different scene, we also find out that apparently they're in a new city, and we're introduced to a new character by the name of Miranda. And Miranda is a psycho, crazy blonde. I mean, she is bananas for Cone, like in love. And I was like, really? Already? You just met the guy, you ran into him, and she's just a ditzy nightmare. I said it. And toward the end of the episode, we find out she's in love with Sanglion now? Whoa, where's this coming from? Is she bipolar? Oh god, no, we only hope she was. Just putting that out there. But again, that's where we actually end the episode at. And I'll hold my final thoughts and rating at the end of the clip, so stay tuned. But again, let's open this up, let's get it going. So we open up this episode with Sanglion, not exactly where we left off before. In fact, we're in a different location. Apparently he's trying to barter with a boat captain on going to the capital. At least that's what it looks like. And apparently this boat captain is trying to milk Sanglion for what he's worth. Like, he's trying to get as much money as he can out of him because of the situation he's in, you know, needing to go to the capital with Icarlet and everyone else. So because of bad misfortune, this really horrible boat captain is milking Sanglion for what he is worth. But again, that's where we open up with. Moving on past that, we are taken to a different scene with Icarlet. Now, Icarlet doesn't want to go by boat. She doesn't want to go by sea, you know. She wants to go by land. So she brings up an interesting point of interest. Why not we go by land? I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. So Sanglion actually chimes in. He actually says, well, the detour would set us back, oh, I don't know, 10 days. I'm like, how long is it going to take to get to the capital? You take so many godforsaken detours, you know. What's 10 more days, right? 10 more days. That's all I got to say about that. So we're going to a different scene with Icarlet. And apparently she wants to go by land to go to a place called Nanaripat. I believe that's how you pronounce it, Nanaripat. And I have no idea what this place really is other than they have special sweets. I think that's what she was talking about. Special fried sweets. I'm like, for food. A little girl wants to go by land 10 days out of her way for food. Go figure. Literally. You know, anything for food, right? So apparently that's where they're going to be heading to. So we're taking to a different scene. All I can say is on to Nanarapt. Whatever you want to call the place. Nanarapat. So anyways, that's all I have to say. And apparently Sanglion wants to meet back in about 1 hour. So everyone's going to go their own separate ways per se and meet back, you know, to go by land later on. So that kind of makes sense. Now while they're talking about that little, you know, we'll be back in 1 hour, Pet disappears. And you're like, wait, where's Pet going? He's just, okay, he's just going to take a, you know, a shit probably. At least that's what Sanglion or a few of the other, you know, characters actually come up with, you know. I mean, Cone would have been the first one to come up with that, but it wasn't him. But just putting that out there. So we are taking to a different scene actually with Cone, and he's actually looking for the toilet in the city. So that's what he's doing in his free time before his hour is up. He's looking for a bathroom, and he actually runs past Gustav. That's right, you know, one of Dukakis' subordinates. He's actually in the same city, and he's drunk off his knocker, and he thinks he saw Cone, but he's like, nah. You know, he's drunk. He's like, it's the booze talking. Okay, whatever floats your boat, man. But apparently Cone really didn't notice. It was just Gustav kind of did. Just putting that out there. So we are taken to a different scene with Pet. And you're wondering, Pet, where did you go? What are you doing? Apparently Cone stumbles across Pet, and Pet's talking into a communicator. He's speaking English. Well, you know, for us it's English. For other audiences it's Japanese and whatever language you're checking this out in. But, you know, for us, we're reading the subtitles. I'm like, wait, he can speak. You know, he's speaking the same language as Cone. Wait, what's going on? And who is he talking to? You know, best guess, Elma Flora. Now we know where his allegiance is, and I was right. I knew this little fuzzy guy had to be on Elma Flora's side, obviously because she sent him. But he could speak. He could speak the same language as Cone? What? Where did that come from? I can't wait to find out. I'm like, oh, like, wow. Where's this going to go? You know, you can speak. We're going to have tons of arguments now in the series, probably. And again, Pet, he notices Cone watching him, and he now knows the truth, but he's playing dumb? Yeah. And then apparently Cone shakes him around, and Pet throws up on Cone. Perfect timing. Perfect timing. But anyways, again, Cone does know Pet can speak his language, so interesting. Moving on to a different scene now, we are taken to Leon and Verazion. That's right, two more of Dukakis' subordinates. They're also in the same city. Come on, what are the... Come on. Come on. This has got comedy written all over it. So again, they're playing... Well, I shouldn't say they're playing. They're talking about a game called Ants, and it's a really creepy game, which I will not describe. I'm censoring myself. This is me censoring myself. I am not describing this game because it's just so perverted. It's stupid. Well, it's not that bad. Just for all the younger audiences out there, I will not talk about it. The game they're talking about is called Ants, and it's just a stupid game. So moving on to a different scene. Now we do find out Cone, it can be seen at the fountain apparently. So Cone is at the fountain with Pet, and we do see Leon and Veration just passing by, and they're like, wait, isn't that... Nah, it can't be. And they walk away. I'm like, dude, for guys that are supposed to be the best in what you do for a living under Dukakis, you guys really suck, and you're not even drunk. I mean, Gustav, he's got a reason. You guys, you're not drunk. You're stupid. Plain and simple, guys, you're stupid. But anyways, that's where we're at there. So we're taking to a different scene with Cone and actually Pet, and they're at the fountain, and they're arguing. And they're actually speaking the same language, so they're arguing. And out of nowhere, you hear Pet say something about Elma Flora. So you do know he is in allegiance with Elma Flora. That was her on the communicator that he was talking to, so it's out in the open now. But what I don't understand, Cone, what the hell? You say it's torture time, you know? Like, I like this. Torture time, you know? It's torture time. No, it is a nightmare. Apparently Cone, his idea of torture time, other than shaking, you know, Pet, is bondage. I'm like, holy mother, it's an animal, and you're putting a gag in it, you're doing all these various, you know, bondage props. Dude, who raised you, man? It's an animal. There's so many reasons why that is so wrong, so I'm not going to describe it, but shame on you, Cone. Shame on you. Poor Pet. I think he's going to talk. So we're taking to a different scene, and guess what? Pet talks. I mean, he literally talks. But apparently you're probably wondering, well, what is Pet to everyone else? Apparently, this is what Pet tells Cone. Apparently, men consider him an accessory, and women think he's a living ware. I didn't really understand that, to be honest. I mean, I didn't really understand that. But he's trying to give Cone riddles and not the truth. So Pet does a whole game show. He does a whole game show with riddles and whatnot with Cone. I thought it was kind of funny. He's like, and guess what? You won the first prize, not to ask any more questions. And Cone was all psyched. He's like, wait a minute. Did you just... Oh, son of a... I was like, I loved it. I loved it. It was perfectly timed. But you know, Cone is one smart SOB. Not really. He's just lucky he was able to catch on. But moving on to a different scene. Now, I should also point out, Pet is actually still talking to Cone in general, and we find out he's talking about breast, bankruptcy, and father. Like, those were the 3 clues within his riddle of who he really is. Or at least I think that's a joke, because they're not really who he is. And he's like, Pet's Cone's father? Like, wait. Pet is Cone's father? Okay, that doesn't not even make sense. It is just so way back in left field that... Yeah, that was a baseball term. That it was like, what WTF? So, Cone is Pet's son, and Pet is Cone's father. What? That's crazy. That can't be real. I'm sorry. So we are taken to a different scene, and Cone just kicks Pet. Literally kicks Pet. I thought it was kind of funny. And as soon as we see Cone kick Pet, you know, Pet is like a hologram. You know, just kicks right through him. It's like, yeah, this isn't my real form. Like, no shit, really. So we are taken to a different scene now. Apparently, it's story time. Everyone sitting down? Yeah, sitting down. Okay. It's story time with Pet. Let's play the WTF with Pet. So he's telling Cone apparently how he came to be and how Pet is actually his father. And I was like, oh my god, this is something straight out of a nightmare book from Fairy Tale. You know, this isn't right. This isn't real. I mean, Cone being Pet's son, no, it's not real. So Cone does know that Pet is BSing his way through all of this crap, and he calls BS. Like, bam, I call BS. But he plays along regardless. So I'll give you props, Cone. At least you hanged in there for the BS. So we are taken to a different scene with KT. Now KT looks like he's actually, sorry, my bad. KT is actually reading, looks like a magazine of some sort, and she's under a tree, like in the grassy area, and we can see a carriage passing by right past her, and she sees Sanglion inside of it, as well as a couple other familiar faces. Guess what? She ignores it. It's like, yeah, not happening, you know, impossible. Must be imagining things. Okay, yet again, you're an elite guard of, you know, Dukakis's, you know, army, and you're that blind? wow, I'd hate to have you on my side. You know, if the truth hits you in the face, you're just going to ignore it after you think it's defeated, right? Plain and simple, but sorry, I digress. Moving on to a different scene now. We are taking inside of the carriage with Sanglian, and we see Cone has caught up with everyone. It's been about an hour or so, so they're going by land now to go to the Nana Rapat location that Icarlet actually wanted to go to, but sorry, I digress. Again, Cone is inside, and he's telling Sanglian that Pet can talk, and apparently they either think he's crazy or he's just getting sicker with all these delusions. So you know, no, it gets better. That's all I can say. He starts to mess with Pet. So Cone starts to mess with Pet majorly. Oh my goodness, this was probably the funniest part throughout the whole scene, next to the ending. Just putting that out there. So Cone, he tries to get, well, the Pet to actually talk. So he's talking about mating. It's like, I guess it's time for, Pet to, mate, like who are we gonna mate with? Lambs, sheep, maybe that cat. And he's being very convincing to, Icarlet and everyone else, and they're kind of going along with it, and it's freaking Pet out. And eventually, he's like, well, maybe Pet, you can mate with this naked mole rat. I'm like, this naked mole? He's like, oh goodness gracious, no, not gonna happen. But it was even more hilarious. Moving on past that, Cone wants to fix Pet, fix Pet, chop off his balls. I thought, cat. Well, no, I want to say castrate, but that's not correct. He wants to neuter him. So I was like, whoa, he's done. He's like, he can't do this. So he actually starts talking. So Pet starts talking. He's like, no, and all of a sudden everyone can hear him. And then as he's being tortured, Icarlet comes out of nowhere. It's like, oh, you can talk. Okay. It's like, she's like way out of left field. She just like, oh, you can talk. Well, I guess you're not crazy, Cone. She didn't say she's sorry, nothing like that, and it's like, no surprise. What? I'm sorry, that got even more hilarious. Now, toward the end of the episode, we find out Dukakis is right outside, ironically, and he doesn't even notice that, Cone is on board the carriage, and he hears the words, your balls are mine. Apparently, that's what Cone was talking to Pet about, because he was going to, neuter him, and you hear Dukakis hear the words, your balls are mine, and he quickly, crosses his legs, hands on his, whatever's left of what he's got. I thought it was hilarious. And again, that's where the episode ends. As for final thoughts, wow, well, Pet, first of all, are you going to tell us your little plan, who you really are? Because you're not Cone's father, so who are you really? And come on, tell everyone the truth. You work for Elma Flora. And hopefully, we might get to know more about Elma Flora if we're lucky. Moving on past that, are any of Dukakis' men, as well as Dukakis, going to figure out that Cone's still alive? I mean, he was right in front of you. He's like, woohoo! He was right in front of you, and you didn't notice. And I mean, Dukakis wasn't even drunk. Gustav was, though, so he's got a reason, but everyone else, not so much. But that ends it for my final thoughts. As per my rating, drumroll? Oh, no drumroll? Really? 4 out of 5. There were no fight scenes technically. Well, not even technically there weren't. I mean, unless you count, the argument between Pet and Cone throughout the episode. But that's really not much of a fight. Was there comedy? Was there humor? Oh my goodness, you bet your sweet ass there was. That's why I loved it so much. Now, moving on past that, was there any emotion, drama? Nah. Was there any information? No, Pet's still holding out, but we're going to get there eventually next episode. But again, that is it for my final rating. 4 out of 5. And that ends it for my walkthrough and review of Ixion Saga Dimension Transfer Episode 14. But definitely comment down below, let me know, thumbs up, thumbs down, definitely subscribe, check me out on Twitter, and follow me if you like. But again, guys, that ends it for now. Let me know what you thought of this episode, and let me know what you think's going to happen in the next episode that's coming out. But guys, I gotta go, I gotta hit the bricks. I've got one more walkthrough and review to do today. Hopefully I'll get it done. If not, stay tuned for tomorrow. But guys, I gotta go. I gotta get the, reviewing. Before I go, I gotta say it, and I always say it. You can't stop the access, but you can watch the feed. I'll see you later, guys.